And ladies and gentlemen, we have another very, very interesting, like from the morning, I've been promising you that we are going to have an action-packed INFOCOM KOLKATA 2024. And I've been promising, I have been giving you wonderful sessions. I'm sure that you are going to take home a lot because I'm learning, I'm backstage, and I'm learning a lot. At every stage, my learning has been mammoth, gargantuan, huge. That's what I will say. We have this CIO panel now, which is driving enterprise transformation through next-gen technologies. Again, another very interesting session, this CIO panel, and the ones who are still here and who have still been listening intently, we have to understand that AI is the future. We are not going to copy and paste, and we are not going to be copycats. We are going to let our creativity flow, and yet we are going to use AI to our advantage. May I request everyone, all of you present here, to give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Welcome back once again after that wonderful keynote address. We are onto the CIO panel, driving enterprise transformation through next-gen technologies. I will request the chairperson and moderator of this session, Mr. Sarojit Jha, Chief Business Transformation Services and Digital, Tata Steel Limited, to kindly come onto the stage and take a seat. A very good afternoon to you, sir, and a huge round of applause as I request Mr. Sarojit Jha to take his seat in the dais as the chairperson and moderator. Welcome, sir. Our speakers for this session are very vibrant. I will request all of you to keep applauding as I welcome them onto the stage. Mr. Vinay Shankar Maharaj, ED ICT Coal India Limited. A warm welcome to you, sir. Good afternoon, and I welcome you onto the dais to take your seat. Yes, keep the applauses coming. That will keep you warm in this cold room, and it will also enthuse our speakers here. We have Saurav Mathur, Senior Vice President, Sales and Operations, Ishan Technologies. Warm welcome to you, sir. Good afternoon, and I request you to take your seat on the dais. Mr. Sanjay Sen, Senior Vice President, ITC. Warm welcome to you, sir. Good afternoon, and a hearty welcome to you onto the dais, and I request you to take your seat on the dais. Keep those applauses coming, please. And we have Mr. Kallol Basu, CTO, National Insurance Company. Huge round of applause as I welcome him onto the stage, and I request him to take his seat on the dais. A good afternoon to each of our gentlemen here, and I will hand over to the session to our chairperson and moderator, Mr. Sarojit Jha. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So good afternoon to everyone. I can see that we have a sea of very enlightened faces. And of course, very distinguished panel, which will hopefully leave everyone more enlightened and the feeling of more technology entitlement. So we will start with Kallol. If you can just take 30 seconds to introduce yourself and make your opening comments.
Thank you. So, I'm the CTO of National Insurance, a public sector general insurance company. In fact, the oldest one. As I speak, today is our foundation day. We are turning 118 years today. So I practically started my life in technology consulting. I have worked in the likes of TCS, Accenture, and Cognizant before I took up this role. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sen, if I can ask you to please do the same.
Yeah, I am Sanjay Sen. I work for ITC. I am part of CIO's office running strategic transformation projects.
Thank you. Any comments on the topic?
You want me to start or?
Yes, sure.
Transformation is a way of life, and especially in IT, you need to run to stand where you are because so much of technology is changing every day. And also that keeps us in business. In ITC, we try to lead the way, and today there are too many things. Digital is all pervasive. if you see areas where we can never thought that IT will impact, like legal and others, they are looking at how digital can transform their lives and can make their work more efficient. And importantly, if you see GenAI, the beauty of GenAI is we have seen automation, AI, ML, they were all aiding people. But GenAI is thinking, it is creative. So it is bringing a new dimension to the way human beings will work. I think we can discuss more on this.
Sure. Thank you so much. We move to Mr. Saurabh Mathur.
Hi, good evening everyone. My name is Saurabh Mathur. I represent Ishan Technologies. We are leading ICT organization Pan-India, and I am heading the business for the East as Senior Vice President Sales and Operations. So transformation, as you refer Mr. Jha, is like need of the hour, and it is required to be relevant in the business right now. And we as an organization are there to make organization ready for this transformation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shankar Maharaj.
Yeah, good afternoon. I am representing Coal India, one of the largest coal miner in the world, with 2.2 lakh of manpower, around 774 million ton of coal production and 756 million ton of dispatch this year. We are poised to produce more than 800 million ton this year. With this quantum of huge operation, we need a very good IT setup also. And this is the way we are going to look into for this particular topic, how we are going to transform and what exactly expected from all my peers also, that what kind of digital transformation we are eyeing for. That's all. In subsequent discussion, I will more deliberate.
Thank you so much. So I think just a few comments from my side and to get this started. Now, there are 6 large transitions happening in the world. So there is an energy transition which is going on as we go towards more nuclear and renewables. There is also a transition in terms of the north-south as the economic power sort of moves from the north to the south, and there are challenges around it. There is large power conflict as we have a dominant power and a challenging power, and typically that cycle sort of plays itself out every 75 years. We have a graying society globally. Many countries are growing grey before they are growing rich. We also have a technology and AI transition which is happening, and finally we have a supply chain transition which is happening, and there's a movement from away from just pure sort of efficiency to a more resilience and a reliability based thinking. So I think in the midst of all these 6 things, as Sanjay was saying, that there is a need for an organization to transform, and he defined what transformation means for him. But I would sort of go the other way and ask all of you to say in a minute, what does transformation mean for you? How do you define the transformation? Whoever would want to. Sure, can start with Kallol.
Okay, so for me, transformation means a way of staying relevant in the business. So as I just said, we turned 118 years today. So and this reminds me what Martin Luther King said, that if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl, but it is very important to move forward. And in Sanskrit, a single word explains this, called Charaibati. So, and that is only possible that a company like us sustaining for 118 years with changing timeline, changing technology, changing business paradigm, it is possible only with transformation. And transformation is not only technology transformation always, it is process transformation, business transformation, and technology comes as a part of that today. Technology has become backbone, and any transformation will require touching technology also. As an insurer, the way I look at transformation is, how can I issue policies faster? How can I settle claims faster? How can I bring more innovation in customer service? So ultimately, transformations are, while like important for adaptability and the act of moving forward, but also like everything is done for the customer. Any business transform to stay relevant for the customer. That's my interpretation of transformation.
Thank you. It took all of 723 words for the word customer to come in. I think that's a learning for all of us. So, Sanjay, now that, how would you rate your sort of performance in transformation over, the last 5 or 6 years, especially using technology? And whatever score you give yourself, you can explain why it is that and what can be done to increase that score.
Look, just to add to what Kallol said on relevance, if you see, when my father used to go out, he used to carry a purse and he had money. And my mother used to say that, hope you have enough money and all those things. Then we became smart and we started carrying credit cards. So we were smart, we didn't carry money. But my son doesn't carry a purse. So that's a relevance, that's a performance identified. So the entire thing is changing so fast, and that's where it is forcing us to be relevant. And that is done because of technology. But technology also comes with a pinch of salt. Important thing is security. Today, when you are doing all this digital transformation, you will be, or any transformation, you have to also protect yourself. That is important, and that's what also we need to keep in our mind. So performance, not only in terms of efficiency, but also in terms of security. That's my take.
Okay, so you have to be alive to be thriving, and you have to keep moving. So that's the sort of net. So I'll maybe jump to Mr. Maharaj here. So Coal India, you said, march of millions, drumbeat of billions, so huge size, sites, manpower, 2.2 lakhs, it's a huge. So what is it that, say, in the last 5 years, technology has allowed you to achieve? And what is it in the next 5 years that you want technology to achieve?
Well, first of all, when we are talking about the transformation of business, what exactly is happening? You must have heard someone had told that data is oil. Why it is so? In 18th century, when oil was there, it was untapped and it was having the huge potential. Similar is the case with the data also. What we are doing with the oil, we are extracting, we are processing and getting a clean oil for our different energy needs. What about the data? We are getting the raw data, we are processing it, we are going to get a good information, and we have to preserve it also. Now when we are asking about the preservation, there comes the security. When we are having the large sample set, large data set, what exactly we are trying to do? If we are going for quantum computing, you are going for predictive maintenance, or you are going to have the big data. Everywhere you are, if you are having the data, that you have to preserve it, we have to see the hidden patterns, all which are on annual. So being coal miner, of course, we are looking out for the data mining also. And at the same time, what I am trying to tell, that how business transformation is going on. When we are having the potential use of data, the huge potential of data, then we have to see how that is going to touch the right chord of your customers, your different stakeholders, where you are going to connect with them. Artificial intelligence, if you are going to use, you are basically trying to ease the operation, and you are moving towards a little bit when you are involving your humans also, a path from industry 4.0 to industry 5.0. This is not the only automation which we have to eye for, that only automation is going to serve the purpose. In future, you have to involve the entire humankind also along with the technology which is going to get automated, and you have to get great share of humans also, where they can feel themselves collaborated with the new innovations. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I think so far what we have agreed is that the customer has to be the heart and center of it. There has to be business metrics like faster claim processing, better customer experience, correctness of the data. There has to be, of course, data is at the heart of it. So as someone says, data is not only the new oil, but data is actually the new sunlight. Because unlike oil, you know, you can only sort of extract so much of it. But data like sunlight circulates and you can use more and more of it. But that's one thing. And then there is this whole point around the need to change the business continuously and have a very sort of, as they say, fragility rhymes with agility. And sort of you want to make sure that while you're agile, you're not fragile. So we'll turn to Saurabh. Saurabh, from a provider's perspective, so far we have heard, you know, most of the people who are in the ambit and trying to run faster and further. From a provider's perspective, how do you see what are the technologies which are of interest, and how do you see organizations using it, and what are some of the challenges? If you had a magic wand, how will you use that to wish away your customers' challenges?
So quite a detailed question. Okay, we are in an era of disruption today. It's a technical disruption, technology disruption, and even when we are in a globalization, in the midst of a globalization, so we have to catch up with the global trend also, and we have to see what kind of ecosystem we are living currently. So a lot of trends which India is catching up right now is everybody speaking about AI, everybody speaking about Gen AI, then IoT, then you know what not. Now, only question is, there's a lot of noise around, but what is relevant to the organization so that organization can benefit by adopting those kind of technology is critical. So what I personally believe is that there has to be a strategy, a long-term strategy in place. Whenever any organization is thinking of adopting the new age technology, there has to be a long-term strategy in place where we are very clear that what is our immediate goal, what is our mid-term goal, and what is our maybe long-term goal. Once that strategy in place, then we can understand the requirement, what ultimately all technologies are contributing to the business needs or business outcomes, which can be revenue growth or operational efficiency or maybe customer satisfaction. So what objective we have in terms of solving some kind of business challenge or need to leverage any market opportunity which is available at that point of time. So it is critical to understand that thing, and then we need to align the technology with that kind of objective. So this is the only magic wand. Instead of carried away with the noise around, understand the basic need of the organization which is in line with the ecosystem of the organization. And then you align the technology what you are trying to adopt. That is the magic wand which is critical. Right? And strategy is very critical to be in place, because you cannot be reactive in your approach, you have to be proactive in your approach.
Fantastic. So far now we are saying that the business outcome is always at the heart, because we are not in the business of technology, we are in the business of serving customers and keeping our stakeholders happy. The technology follows. So I'm glad that I think with only 14 minutes left, we have not talked about technology. That makes me very happy, because it means that we have avoided the hype. So Kallol, coming to you, when we were discussing this, that you know, organizations, that there is an IT plumbing which cannot be undervalued, and then there is the whole business transformation that runs on top of that IT plumbing, right? So you know, and we were discussing that in the early phases, so you need a CID or a CDIO, which is a Chief Information Digital Officer or a Chief Digital Information Officer. And in the early times when you need the you need the information part, the IT plumbing to be stronger. It's better to have a CIDO. And when you've got that sorted out, then it's better to have a CIDO. A CDIO. And so taking that thought forward in say organizations like yours, what is the role of a chief technology officer? And what is the expectations of the board and the CEO from them? And in turn, what is the expectations that they have from their CXO colleagues?
Okay. So not only our case, primarily in most of the large BFSI enterprises, not only in India but across the world, there are two dominant roles. One is CIO and another is CTO. Sometimes some companies afford to have a CDO also, dedicated Chief Digital Officer. But many companies have one Chief Information Officer and one CTO who also double up as a CDO. And the role segregation is very simple. The CIO is primarily responsible for running the IT. And the CTO or the CTDO is responsible for changing the IT with the use of emerging technologies, if I may use that terminology. So that is, so one is inward looking and the other person is mostly outward looking. That's how the segregation is mostly done. But there are companies where one CIO plays all three roles. That is also there. Or one CTO.
Oh, that's very good. So we will come to now the curse of the purse, Mr. Sanjay Sen. So the curse of the purse in our roles is all about how do you make the limited budgets work. And you are aware that every vendor and their kith and kin are putting some immature GenAI into their tools and coming and saying, pay me more. When you ask for what, and there is no clear answer. So how are you seeing, what would be your suggestion be to all the budding IT procurement and the CIOs and CDOs on how to sort of tackle, make their budget go the extra mile?
The way we look at it is you need to have a strong governance in place. You can try POCs and others with a limited scope to try out, because as I told you, all technology comes with a pinch of salt. So you may need to try it out certain things. Having said that, when you are doing it, when you are in it in a budget, then you commit the business value that you will deliver. You identify how will you count that business value, what are the parameters that needs to be improved. Maybe every time it may not be in terms of monetary, in terms of process efficient, and also identify a person who is accountable to make that happen. Otherwise, you will have systems which are implemented but never used.
That's very clear. So I would take that if you want to avoid the pilot purgatory, then first fix accountability, set the standards of experimentation, and probably, as they say in startups, fail fast, fail forward. So I think that point is very clearly made. Thanks, Sanjay. We'll come to you, Mr. Maharaj. I'm very curious to know. I think one of the things implicit in what Sanjay said is how do you bring down the cost of experimentation, and how do you make sure that whatever you are scaling is used? How does Coal India do that?
Regarding cost, there are multiple solutions, and when we try to evaluate those solutions, recently we have implemented ERP in Coal India. Of course, we are having ERP type solution, CoalNet, since last 15 years, but recently we have moved on to ERP. We did take help of management consultant also, and based on that we are having our internal team. Cost effectiveness is always a major part of decision. Any decision in any PSU, if takes place, the only challenge any CIO basically feel in any of the PSU that always finance people lying with the one concept of last purchase price. Now this LPP concept is always there. That means some technology has been implemented somewhere and you are having some price point. And based over that you are going to make your decisions. So if newer technology is coming, where from you are going to get the last purchase price? So ultimately what you have to do, you have to find a way where you can evaluate the technology and the respective costs you have to evaluate. Of course, in a government sector you will find that QCBS and is also very restricted, and in a very you can say that aberration type of cases only QCBS is allowed. So this is a challenge with any of the PSU, which I cannot compare with the private sector, but in PSUs, making a proper balance is a tough, but yes, in Coal India, we have achieved that, and we have adopted some cost-effective solutions also, and we are going with that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very, so basically you have to understand the system, understand some of the levers available to you, and then soldier on and make it happen. So I think the coal is very earthy and I can see that. So thank you so much for that. So we'll come to Saurabh. You're sitting in the center, and unlike us sort of grounded people, you have the right to be a little airy-fairy. So what are some of the airy-fairy things that are exciting? And then maybe once you finish, I'll just hop over to Kallol, because he's also in an industry that sort of churns air, value from air, right? Unlike others of us who are into sort of very tough nuts in some way. So over to you. What should the audience take away from these new generation technologies that they can look at?
So, as I told you earlier, there are a lot of technologies which are coming up, right? Now, when we talk about AI or Gen AI or maybe 5G, we talk about IoT. All these technologies are there to serve the organizations. But if we know what exact problem we want to resolve through the technology, if I'm adopting AI or any AI application across the organization, as Mr. Sanjoy said that there are a lot of security threat around the technologies, right? So we have to put the framework in place so that whatever technology we are adopting right now or whatever technology we are adopting for the organization, it does not backfire to the organization basic structure. We need to understand our ecosystem. We need to see how well we are prepared to adopt that technology, and then only decide on the technology. Now there are a lot of technologies available to reform a lot of business sides, all the business processes. But what is critical for any organization to see that your ecosystem is ready, because these technologies are difficult to integrate with the legacy networks, legacy systems. So if you are incorporating these technologies with legacy system, then you will have challenges in terms of soil data inputs, performance inefficiencies, and etc. Then there is a skill gap in the industry. So trained manpower is still a challenge for many organizations. We have to train our people for whatever technology we are adopting. And finally, the security part, because if we implement any IoT device, maybe for predictive maintenance, tomorrow we might realize that we are opening a backdoor for cyber attack. So what will happen in that case? From a chair of innovator, I will land into a chain of firefighter. So all these are important things. So what we suggest that whatever technology, as my colleague says, that whatever technologies we are identifying for the organization, basis the organization need, we need to try it, test it out, identify one business line, one business process, do a pilot test out there, work with some of the ICT partner of yours who can navigate you through those challenges, so that you can deploy and reap benefit of the deployment and in your operations. So a lot of technology is available, but it depends on what technology suits your requirement and how well you are equipped from your ecosystem point of view to adopt that technology, keeping security in mind, because security is the big thing. Now it is in the top list of all CIOs, I'm sure. So keeping security in mind so that nothing goes wrong when you deploy that technology. And yes, pallet testing is very critical.
So thanks. I think while I asked you to do airy-fairy, you sort of became more grounded and talked about guidelines and guardrails of making technology happen. So, but thanks for that. I think that is a very useful topic. We will ask Kallal to see if you can take some flight of fancy. Because so far, I think we have all been talking about governance, customer at the heart of it, business value to be driven, how to sort of circumvent the policies and practices of public sectors, how, you know, curse of the purse, make the budget go a little longer, make sure that you keep running because you have to look at the IT plumbing. So we've sort of, but some sort of, I'm sure the audience would like to hear some airy-fairy stuff.
Yeah, so I think you mentioned about key takeaway, what they want to go with, right? So I'll tell you about 2-3 things. So Mr. Mathur mentioned about a few technologies which are real. So in BFSI, we are really seeing a convergence of technology. So AI, starting from data, big data, cloud, AI, low code, no code, all are very real, okay? Now coming to the hype part of it, I think we started about discussing about hype. Gartner publishes something called a hype cycle. I'm sure many of you follow that. So the hype cycle of emerging technology, if you see the report of 2023, you will find Gen AI was at the top. And then if you see the same report for 2024, after the peak in the Gartner hype cycle, there is something called the trough of disillusionment. So you will see Gen AI is coming there. Now there are conflicting views really. Those of you who follow NVIDIA stock, you might have seen in 2019, NVIDIA stock value was around $5 and it has appreciated 2,700% in 5 years. Now hovering around $145. And in market cap, it has surpassed Apple also, $3.6 trillion. Now, in fact, and that is actually credited to primarily Gen AI. ChatGPT's large language model was based on A100 of NVIDIA, and NVIDIA's latest chip, Blackwell, that is pre-booked for the next 12 months already. Now, is this really a hype or is this real? In contrast to that, I will tell you, just read some public sustainability report. The theme of this INFOCOM is sustainable disruption. So if you read the sustainability report, Microsoft, Google, everyone published that, you will see one thing is common. Year on year, for the last few years, 2-3 years at least, there is around 25 to 30% year on year increase in greenhouse gas emission, primarily credited to Gen AI, AI plus Gen AI. And Sam Altman already said, like, this is not sustainable and we need nuclear energy to support this. So Gen AI is a hype or not, time will tell. Most of the Indian companies are still on the experimentation stage, but sustainability part is something you should be considering. So I leave you with that thought of sustainable disruption.
Thank you so much. We are also out of time. So I think the two thoughts there that are very important. Gen AI technology is already consuming 11% of the total carbon emissions in the world. And if it goes at this rate, then whether you build data centers inside the sea or whether they are all solar powered, you have a problem. And the second is, I think as was said, there are two AI races going at the moment. There is the race of the providers. So the Google, the Amazons and the Apples are locked in a battle of AI. It is advised that you run your own race at your own pace as a consumer of AI, because none of us are going to be in the provider of AI business, at least in the short run. So we are horribly out of time. I may take an audience question. No. So I am being asked not to take any audience questions. So sorry, I could not. I would like to thank all my panelists for an excellent session. And with that, I hand over the mic back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to request Mr. Uman Thomas, National Head Advertisement Sales ABP Private Limited, to kindly come forward and present mementos to our chairperson and moderator and our speakers here today. Sir, please. We'd like to thank Mr. Sarajit Jha. Thank you for moderating and chairing this wonderful CIO panel, Driving Enterprise Transformation through Next-Gen Technologies. Thank you, Mr. Vinay Shankar Maharaj. Thank you, sir. Deeply grateful to you, Mr. Saurav Mathur, sir. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you, Mr. Sanjay Sen. Thank you, sir. Grateful to you for your gracious presence with us today. And thank you, Mr. Kollal Basu. Thank you very much, sir. We have much to take home from this beautiful panel. And so if you could just stand in the middle, then they could take a picture. A photograph for posterity, and like I always keep saying, photographs are very, very important, because all this will go down memory lane and we are going to reminisce these memories for a long time to come. Thank you. We'd like to request our chairperson and moderator and our speakers to take their seats.